Welcome to a Talk with Armani.
I am your host, Armani Iman.
This is the show that takes you behind the scenes and in front of the screen of all different types of productions. Whether it's a feature film, a brand new TV show, or writing a book, I introduce you to those powerhouses that make those productions work. Make sure you stay tuned as I bring to you my first guest.
Talk with Armani. I am your host, Armani Iman. This is the show that takes you behind the scenes and in front of the screen of all different types of productions. Whether it's writing a book, doing a feature film, starring on stage on a play, or possibly even, making a hair masterpiece. I introduce you to the people that make those productions work. When I come back, I'll have my very first guest. Make sure you stay tuned.
You're watching A Talk with Armani.
Welcome back. I am sitting here with a young lady that has a long title, so please bear with me. She is the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer for the Atlanta Hawks. Woo! And Phillips Arena. Please help me welcome Miss Nzinga Shaw. So, how do you get to that title? First of all, what does that title mean?
That title means a lot of things.
Okay.
I am the first person in the National Basketball Association to do this job. I'm not the only person, but I'm the first.
Okay.
When I started this job, our team was in the middle of a public crisis.
Okay.
Our general manager and our controlling owner had been outed for saying disparaging comments about the African American community.
Okay, I remember.
And all of those comments became public.
Mm-hmm.
So the emails became public, the audio tapes of board calls became public.
God.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And so when I was brought on, the African American community was very upset with the Atlanta Hawks, and they wanted us to rebuild trust with the community. And so that's initially what I was brought on to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, beyond meeting with civil rights leaders and beyond marching in the Pride Parade and doing things to organically connect with the community, I just said to myself, there's got to be more.
Right.
And there have to be more people that get engaged in this work, not just myself.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I did was start a diversity council.
Okay.
I brought in a group of 20 people. Half of the people work at the Atlanta Hawks in Phillips Arena, but the other half just live in the city of Atlanta and care about the Hawks in some way.
Okay.
So we have ex-professional athletes, we have people that work at the city of Atlanta, the mayor's office, people that are handicapped, people that are LGBT, people that are black, white, Hispanic, Asian, the list goes on.
Yeah. So a whole diverse council.
Absolutely.
Right.
If I am empowered to make changes and build a infrastructure that supports the people have to be a part of the process.
Exactly.
Right? So that was my initial thinking in putting this group of folks together. And so we work in three different ways. We work thinking about internal culture and what happens inside of the Hawks. So how do we recruit employees to our organization? Once the employees are in our organization, what are we doing to give them all a rich and unique experience? That's all about internal engagement.
Right.
The next focus, I think, is the largest thing that we focus on, and it's fan experience.
Okay.
So when you come to an Atlanta Hawks game, no matter who you are, if your family has a child that has autism, or if you happen to be in a new community like the Hispanic community, which is underserved in the Atlanta area, whatever it is that is unique to your family and your situation, you should be able to come to an Atlanta Hawks game and have a good night.
Right.
Have a fun night. You should have, you should feel that the experience resonates with you.
Okay.
Right? So that's what we really focus on, is making sure that we show up well in the community and that we're touching everybody, not just certain segments of the community, not just people that have money to buy a ticket.
Right.
I understand that it is expensive and
Right.
discretionary funds, you have to really decide where you spend your money, but we want to make Hawks tickets accessible to everybody.
Okay.
And the game fun for everybody. And then the last thing is strategic partnerships. So historically we've done business with big companies like Coca-Cola or Home Depot because they're just the big organizations that are here in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
But what about those women-owned businesses? And what about minority-owned businesses that also have a lot to offer? How are we connecting with those companies and making sure that all of our business is connecting with different demographics in the community? So that's really what my job is all about.
Wow, that's
a lot.
That is a lot. position for how long?
3 years.
Okay, and in that time, what have you seen?
Well, first and foremost, let's just say that I've seen a lot happen in the public setting in terms of diversity and inclusion. There are a lot of companies talking about diversity and inclusion, why it matters, why it's important. I've also seen a presidential election take place while I was in the midst of my job. And so really listening to constituents on either side of the field and really being able to have the community talk about all of their perspectives is what I've seen happen while I've been in my job, while using the platform of sports to help empower the Atlanta community to take positive action towards bringing a unified group of folks together. So we were the first team ever to host what we called a unity game.
Okay.
And unity game happened last year. It was when we played the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were the champions at the time, in the preseason home opener. And instead of having players go to either side of the court when the national anthem was being played, we had all the players meet in the middle of the court, hold hands, sing the anthem together. It was a signal that, you know what, we can be on different sides of the turf, we can be on different sides of the court, but we're all humans at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Humanity is at the core. And so how do we use our sports platform to create change and to create positive conversations around everything that's going on? We've seen the Kaepernick situation evolve in the media, and different people have different opinions about where that rests, but I think that in order to get to a good place, we have to at least have positive conversations. And so the Atlanta Hawks, we host a forum called Mosaic.
Okay.
Mosaic stands for Model of Shaping Atlanta Through Inclusive Conversations. Okay. And it's a forum where we invite people to come in and talk about the issues that you see happening in modern America, and talk about what can we do as people to help solve it, right? We can't solve racism. Racism has been around for 400 years.
Right.
But there's something that we can do to create change. So how can we collectively put our heads together and figure that out?
And obviously there is not a solution that will take place overnight. There isn't, if it's been 400 years, we can expect that it would probably take a little bit longer. But as you're saying, there are things that we can do as a people, regardless of what color you are, regardless if you are black or white, Hispanic, whatever you are, there are things that you can do to make your particular situation better. And maybe if there are resources that are available to the individual, again, not it basically saying, okay, it's only available to black people, or it's only available to women with children, or it's only available to handicapped. But we have a resource that's available to anyone that's willing to reach in the pot and pull it out and help themselves, then I think that's the best resource that we can have for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much. We have to take a short break, but we'll be right back.
You're watching A Talk with Armani. Welcome back to A Talk with Armani. So in case you're just joining me, I am sitting here with the very busy and talented and important Miss Nzinga Shaw. So diversity, there is so much that's going on. And in today's temperament, we were having a conversation a while back, and then it keeps coming up, it keeps creeping up about racism and how it's still going on, but it's not as prevalent in some places. And then the diversity of it. There is people that are split all the way across the board of whether it exists, if it's this, if it's that. And again, I always say that it's a matter of demographics. It depends on where you live, basically, where you're at, where you grow up. Some people are touched by it, some people are not. But I think that what the Atlanta Hawks is doing is admirable, because they realize that there's just a issue nationwide, regardless, and I don't think we're going to say it's racism. There's just a difference.
Sure.
There's a difference. I like to use that word. There are different situations that are coming out and affecting different people differently. And because of that, regardless of whether or not you're black, you're white, woman or man, regardless of what it is, everyone has a certain circumstance that they are being affected by. And by these programs that you have, that kind of helps them get a little bit of relief almost, because like you said, making the ability or the affordability of going to a game, even if it's just a matter of, hey, out of this whatever life that I'm living, me and the kids can go to Atlanta Hawks game and just kind of veg out and just, feel like we don't have all those problems that we had at home.
we're just going to chill here.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the core of it, people need to understand the definition of diversity and inclusion. Diversity is simple. It means difference. It's something unique that you bring to the table. There are 7.3 billion people in this world. That means there's 7.3 billion differences, right?
Right.
Even identical twins are not the same in every specific way. But inclusion to me is the most important part of that equation, because it's how do we leverage those differences? How do we find the best in what people bring to the table and find a way to create high-performing teams?
Absolutely.
And so the way that we are attacking diversity and inclusion is thinking about the Atlanta community in the most inclusive way possible. We have decided to build 25 courts, basketball courts around the city, just so that kids have an outlet to play, so that they are
that
not
is fabulous.
Yeah, they're not going to commit crimes or use their idle time for something that is bad. It's let's figure out a way to pour into the community. We can fund it ourselves. You know, we happen to be a very fruitful team and are doing well financially, so we have to give back. It's just it's what we're responsible to do. And that's not the only thing. I mean, there are a lot of families in the Atlanta community that suffer from autism. They have kids that do. And so as we are rebuilding our arena, we have decided that we're going to create a sensory room. So families that have autistic children can actually watch the game in the sensory room, and it's not an overbearing experience.
Yes, wow, that's fabulous. That is.
So we're not just trying to appeal to African Americans or Hispanics or whites or black or whatever. We're trying to think about, like, what actually makes this city unique?
Right.
What are the differences that we can all bring to the table and amplify in a good way? And so that's how we are attacking this work. I think it's very different than just focusing on black and white and people are fighting. Cops are angry with civilians. Civilians are angry with cops. LGBTQ are getting attacked in Orlando, and the list goes on. We can look at everything bad and certainly talk about that, but let's take time to talk about what's good. And then let's find a way to collectively amplify good so that bad eventually goes away.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I really do. It is admirable of the Atlanta Hawks, but I'm very, very proud. I'm very proud of you, your position, and your thought process, because some people, they come into a job and then it's a job. You know what I mean? I'm going to do what I need to do, you know, within that scope of what the requirements on paper may be. But from listening to you, I can tell that you've come outside the box with it, and you're looking at it on all different angles. I don't just want this to be something, I want it to be something special. You know what I mean? And you're very passionate about it. So I'm thank you so much for your dedication to it and for your drive to actually make this happen. You know, and I know I found out during the break that you're a Delta.
Yes.
So and I'm a Delta mom, so I understand exactly, you know, the drive that comes with that. There's a lot that we do in order to try to make different things happen. But it's not just to say, oh, I did this. It's to make a difference.
That's right.
Yeah, so I definitely...
And the difference may not happen today, and it may not be something that I live to see. But I think that if Dr. King did not see half of the things that came after all of his efforts, right? So we can't look for immediate gratification, but I think that if your heart is pure and if you are grounded and you're doing things for good, it will happen eventually. You just may not be around to see it, but it is working.
And a lot of times, I think that the small things, like you said, if there is a family that was able to come and enjoy the fact that, you know, their autistic child can be in the sensory room and can enjoy the game. That's a small thing, but it's a major accomplishment. You know, because that was not something that up until that point a child could do. The loud noises, no, they couldn't do it.
That's right.
But now that you have that, now that will be part of this new infrastructure, you're opening up a door. And again, it's not necessarily changing the face of the world, but it is changing the world of that child.
That's right.
You know, and that to me, if we do it individually, it would be wonderful to affect millions. But if we can affect one person, then to me, that's just as admirable.
That's right.
You know,
and there are families that don't have money to attend Hawks games, right? And so we have a 15 for 15 program. So 15 for 15 basically means every game we give 1,500 tickets away for $15.
Oh, wow.
And they are anywhere. So they're not just in the nosebleeds where you can't see. They're dispersed evenly in our arena. So if you happen to be one of the first 1,500 people that get on the internet and sign up, you can get tickets for $15. So
wow.
Because we understand it costs a lot of money to bring
Yes.
4 people to a Hawks game. It's just expensive.
Right.
And then by the time you put food in there and you do parking, it's expensive.
Yes.
You could be spending several $100s for that one night.
Okay.
So to me, 15 for 15 makes it accessible to people that don't have discretionary funds.
Oh, wow. So you heard that. You're 15 for 15. You can go online to the
Hawks.com.
Hawks.com and you can sign up and get some Atlanta Hawk tickets. And you know they got some pretty good games coming up when the season starts. So you can get the $15 tickets.
Yep.
And anywhere, not just in the nosebleeds. You just got to, make haste. Get on there. And then do whatever you got to do. And if we want to check out the Mosaic program,
Yes.
how do we find out about
Everything is on Hawks.com. Our
Okay.
website is amazing. You go right in our community section, and there's a whole entire write-up about what Mosaic is, when it occurs, who's going to be speaking, what we're talking about, how you can join the conversation, etc. So anything that anybody wants to find out about at the Atlanta Hawks is www.hawks.com.
Okay, well, you heard it. And of course, you can go to talkwitharmani.com and you will see my lovely guest, Nzinga Shaw, there, and you'll be able to click on her. And we have Instagram for your movement, for your office.
So I have my personal Instagram is Zing Shaw, ZINGSHAW.
Okay.
And Atlanta Hawks is ATLHAWKS.
All righty. You heard it here. Okay, make sure you check it out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
You're watching A Talk with Armani.
That's so exciting. I love a live studio audience. Welcome back to A Talk with Armani. I just had a very special guest, Nzinga Shaw, who was telling us about her job in diversity and inclusion. And I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to the studio audience about diversity and inclusion. I know that it affects everyone. I know that there are different forms as far as jobs are concerned, as far as housing is concerned, as far as just opportunities. And I think that there are a lot of opportunities all over the world. I don't think that they said that jobs are becoming more and more easier to get. Now, this is what I've always worked for myself, except for years ago when I was in corporate America. That's a whole different animal. But as far as diversity and inclusion, are we seeing more diversity and inclusion today than we had in the past? Are we seeing more corporate entities take responsibility for it?
I personally have been denied several jobs because this company doesn't need another white Caucasian male.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's a problem. I understand it. But at the same time, you do have to look at the individual things.
I want to get back to the question that I have. It's like it's not a race. I'm not talking about race. And the reason why I say that is because I think that in order for change to be effective, it cannot cater to a particular scenario. I think we have to have different scenarios that we can effectively change. See, that's the statement that was made, there's 7.6 billion people in the world, which makes it 7.6 billion differences, 7.6 individual situations that need or may need to be affected with some type of change. Not a complete overhaul of a whole nation, but some type of change. And Jerry, you being a man, if you find yourself right now, regardless of the circumstances, that you had no money, you want to work, but maybe there's not a job to you that you feel like I can do, or maybe you would say, you know what, I don't got no pride about it, I don't got no money, I need a place to live, I'm gonna go ahead on the Burger King. But are there resources out there that would fit your demographic?
I think so, whether it be the church or the government or private places that are trying to recruit or whatever. I think those opportunities are out there, and there are organizations and people that are out there to help you.
I think that on a larger, grander scale, that maybe there are some things that are out there, but I think that they need to be more brought to the forefront. I guess my call to my studio audience, thank you so much, as well as to my viewing audience, is that if you know about a resource that could help any type of group of person, please go to my website, www.talkwitharmani.com, and tell me about them so other people can know about them. This is a collective state that is united under one constitution, under one flag. But the only way we reach back out to each other, the only thing that basically keeps us in connection is to help people. And whether you want to actually reach out and touch someone or donate or anything like that, that's your prerogative. But sharing knowledge is the best way that you can help anyone. Thank you once again, guys, for helping me with that. We'll be right back.
You're watching A Talk with Armani.
Welcome back to A Talk with Armani. Absolute fabulous show, Miss Nzinga Shaw. Please go to hawks.com and see about all the different resources they have for diversity and inclusion. And if there's something that you can give back, if there's a comment that you would like to make, if there's an idea or resource that you know about that could affect anyone, any class of people, please feel free to go to www.atalkwitharmani.com and tell me about it. Any class of people, and I say that over and over again. It doesn't necessarily have to be the poverty-stricken area or a place that's, a place that's distressed. It could be anything. It could be any resource. It could be someone that you know will help kids that are in second grade learn how to read, that maybe the working parent doesn't have enough time to teach them themselves. Whatever resources that you know about that could possibly change the life of someone else, I ask you to please go to my website, put in the comments, send me an email, or call me at 1-855-7-ARMANI. Until next time, stay safe.